Well, hey everyone, it's Marcus, and welcome to more chatting in my jungle room. There is way more Adelaide Fringe coming your way, and right now we've got a superstar for many very reasons. He's extremely busy. How he made time for me today, I've got no idea, but we're going to find out why. Michael Paynter, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good, Marcus. Thanks for having me, mate.
And I'm not lying. You have got good news coming out of your ear holes at the moment. Good news after good news. 2025 alone was massive for you. Um, and then now leading into 2026, first of all, let's talk about the Adelaide Fringe show. It's called the Great Australian Songbook Live, up close and intimate, alongside very special guests. So that's got me intrigued because you haven't asked me to be a part of it. Odd.
No, not yet. There's still time. Still a couple of weeks. So stay by for the call.
Adelaide Fringe, everybody. It's going to be great. So it plays one day only, but two performances, Wednesday, the
Yep.
4th of March in the
Yep.
Gardens of Unearthly Delights, of course.
Yep.
Michael, tell us about the show. What can we expect to see or hear?
Yeah, look, well, this show was something that was sort of born of a crazy idea late last year. After Superstar, we sort of thought that there's I guess that sort of reminded me of how much I love singing, and I guess it also reminded me of how much people seem to enjoy what I do, which I'd probably put on the back burner for about a decade. I hadn't really done anything of my own.
Yep.
So we thought, look, why don't we just I was already on tour with Jimmy Barnes. I play guitar in his band, so we were already going around the country. So we thought, why don't we just save a flight and a night's a com, and wherever Jimmy is, we just go the day before, or we stay the day later, and we put on our own show after it. I checked with the boss, and he was fine with that. He wasn't scared of me stealing any of his tickets, which was nice. And then so that's how it started. It started with like 8 shows, and then it just over Christmas and New Year's, it just went gangbusters, and we just end up having to add a show or two every day. And it was like I felt like I was on the phone to the agent and my art designer and my web guy, and like every single day adding shows, and then they just kept selling out, and I was just like this crazy, and the venues started getting bigger and bigger, and they started selling out, and it's still to think about it now, it's wild. I feel so grateful, but the essence of the show is really just me. I sort of thought that, the Great Australian Songbook, I'm not sure is something that's been done as officially and probably as comprehensively as I thought it had been done. And it really hasn't been, I would say, hasn't been enough sort of investment in that concept. So I just thought that maybe we could start something where Australian artists start contributing to the Great Australian Songbook, and we start to kind of maybe it sort of kicked off with the Triple J's Australian Hottest 100, and that was a really good way where the country got to sort of unanimously vote as to what they thought their standards might be. Yeah, I'm just excited to thought, well, I'd pick the songs that mean a lot to me and that I feel like I can sing well and bring a fresh sort of perspective to. I'm not just trying to sing covers. Yeah, that's how it started, and 24 shows later and 6 months of my life, we're still going, and I'm very, very excited to get it going.
Well, we are excited in Adelaide to see it. Of course, it came off the back of the EP that came out. Was it, I think, 2025 that came out, didn't it? That
Yeah,
you,
it was.
yeah.
Well, it actually it was officially released this year, 2026, but we started drip feeding things from it at the end of last year. And the EP was really an afterthought from the tour. To be honest, it was the tour that came first, and I just thought, well, if people are enjoying the tour, then it'd be good to give them something to take home. I also started sort of putting some little clips of me singing up on Instagram and TikTok, and they did pretty well, and people seem to really enjoy sort of watching and listening to me sing those songs. So I thought, well, I'm not under any illusions that you're going to make much money from an EP and streaming these days, but I just thought it'd be something nice if people are enjoying what they see when they come to the show, they can take that home and continue to enjoy it.
And it's a great EP, definitely. Hey, so
Oh,
in
thanks, mate.
musician, like what defines, actually, no, I won't ask you that question first. I'll ask you this one. So when you're putting together the set list, because obviously it's an hour show for the Fringe, when you're putting
Hour and
together
a half, actually, a
hour and
bit
a
longer.
half, there we go.
Yeah,
Hey, you
yeah.
got the extended run. Um,
Yes,
so
yeah.
when you're putting that show together, I mean, obviously the plethora of incredible Australian music is huge. How do you
Hmm.
go about choosing the song? What were the couple of songs that had to go in it without, obviously giving away the entire set list? What were two
Hmm.
tracks that were like, they need to be
Well,
there?
look, when I sat down to pick the set, I really just wanted to pick ones that I had personal connections to, like either I had a special moment or they meant a lot to me in my life. I could remember one of the songs that I play is Straight Lines by Silverchair. And I remember the moment that I first heard that song, I remember where I was and what I was doing. I got a speeding ticket on the road because I just completely lost sense of where I was. And I had to pull over and just stare at the radio and just listen to what I was hearing. So those sort of moments, that's how I tried to pick the set. And then when I look back and looked at it, I was like, oh, I actually know or personally or have worked with probably like three-quarters of the artists that sing these songs. I've been so lucky to have the career as a songwriter and as a session musician that I have. And so I just thought that, part of the show could be telling some stories, sort of peeking behind the veil of a producer and a writer or a guitar player in a big band and what that's like. So I think that one of the things was probably picking an Ice House and a Jimmy Barnes song, probably the two that I thought should probably go in there first because a lot of my fans have been following me in those bands for a while.
Yeah.
And I thought that they're two Ivor and Jimmy mean a lot to me. They're like my brothers or uncles or they're like family and they've been so good to me for such a long time. So when I finally got the version of Crazy and Working Class Man recorded, it was I loved being able to text it through to them and see what they thought and yeah, that was lovely.
You kind of dropped a keyword a little bit ago that kind of leads me into my next question. So perfect, nice segue, Mister. But you said
Right.
lucky.
Yeah, I planned it.
Based on how amazing your career has been, obviously 2025 with Jesus Christ Superstar, we'll chat on that in a sec. But with everything that's happening for you this year, which we'll talk about. But I think for the encore for this show, there should be definitely Kylie Minogue's "I Should Be So Lucky."
Oh, that's a fantastic song. I do love that song, actually.
Your version of it, of course.
I'll see what I can do.
And this one's a shout out to Marcus.
There you go. There you go. Yes, I'll
Hey,
work on it. I'm not sure I have time for an encore, but we'll see.
hey, so what defines good Australian music for you? What is it about Australian music that sets it apart from the rest of the world's music?
Oh, I don't know. That's a hard one to answer, mate. I think the two things that come to mind is probably the dichotomy of being so removed from the rest of the world that you play by your own rules to a certain extent,
Yeah.
and you're not quite as influenced as you would be, say, in Europe when you've got all the other countries coming through touring with you all the time. So there's a little bit of the isolation breeding sort of ingenuity side of things.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite juxtaposed with us loving to think of ourselves as punching above our weight on the world stage. And we put a lot of energy into considering ourselves not just as good, but better than a lot of the world. And you can only look at people like Greg Norman or Kylie or, Savage Garden, AC/DC, all these people that, Margot Robbie, all those people that have moved overseas and are proving, we prove that Australians can match it with the best. So I think that probably the isolation probably breeds a unique ingenuity or something just a little bit different from everything else. And then I think the slightly small dog syndrome breeds the competitive nature to try and do it at a standard and a quality that can punch on the world stage.
Insane. And like you have
Hmm.
performed with a lot of these people as well. You've performed, like you said, with Ice House, Jimmy Barnes, but also Delta Goodrum, the Veronicas, who are probably really blessed that they got to work with you as well. So let's talk about something else. Wrapping up 2025, you were playing the role of Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar, of course, played by the great John Farnham. And since doing this interview hookup with you, I've now been given more news, which is you are playing John Farnham in Whispering Jack, the John Farnham Musical. Woo!
Yes.
How long has that been on the back burner for? How long have you been planning it?
Oh, look, it's been part of the conversation probably since probably the close to the end of Superstar. But like I've said a few times, and I'm always very careful with my words when I say this, but I've got three kids, so I didn't have the children, but I was there when it happened.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like when you finish a musical, it's a bit like having a newborn, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're gonna have another one?" It's like, man, I can't even poo yet. You know what I mean? Like I haven't, my body's still going through shit. I can't sleep. I can't even think about another one. And all of a sudden, time goes and you think, how cute is this baby? Oh, we should have another one. And then you end up having another one. So that was a little bit of an analogy of what it feels like for me to finish a musical. So when I was first approached, I was like, hell no, no way. And then just, yeah, time heals all wounds. And then got a little bit, we just sort of kept in touch with the directors and with the producers and yeah, before we knew it, I was in an audition room and being offered the part.
Just phenomenal. Do you feel, obviously taking on the role of John Farnham's, I know you're not going to be mimicking John Farnham, of course, but taking on
Hmm.
the role of, the voice, do you feel a certain amount of pressure, or are you feeling kind of like confident about it all?
Oh no, definitely. I mean, both. I do feel confident in what I can bring to the show. I've got confidence in what I do. Um, I've got a lot of trepidation. When I think about the skill gap. I'm not an actor per se, so there's a lot I'm going to have to learn in terms of acting and that sort of thing. And there's probably a bit of dancing involved in this one too that I'll need to probably come up to a bit of chop with. So that's going to be interesting. So yeah, I hold a good solid confidence in what I know I can do well, and a good awareness of what I don't do well and what I'm yet to improve on. But yeah, doing something like this is a huge responsibility and a huge amount of pressure. And as you said, like um, I'm not a John Farnham impersonator. So every time I put something about me singing online, people love to jump on and say he sounds nothing like Farnham, and I'd way rather hear Farnham sing this song. And I'm like, me too. I agree. I'd rather hear him sing it too. So no arguments here. So yeah, I'm not like one of these this like Austin Butler that's pretending to look and sound and move exactly like the man. That's not what my skill set is. So I'm just hoping to sing his songs and to bring to represent him and his life faithfully on stage in a way that people sort of forget they're watching me and can hopefully sort of buy into the fact that they're watching John, and hopefully what we do as a company and a show brings honor to the man and to his legacy and to his music.
Speaking of his legacy, please tell me at one point during the show you at least get to wear a blonde mullet. Yeah.
Look, looking at your hair there, mate, I think that that's very in my near future. I'd say I think there's going to be a couple of blonde wigs that are going to be necessary because I don't think even growing my hair for 9 months I'm going to get anywhere near close to the glory that was his Whispering Jack do.
I can give you some blonde hair looking after tips, all right?
Great,
I've got
great,
you
love it.
covered. I've got you covered.
Great.
Hey, have you had a chance to meet? I mean, you probably have. I mean, your career in the music industry has been huge, and you've been around for a very long time. Have you had the chance to meet John Farnham, or because of this show, are you going to get to sit down with John Farnham and discuss techniques or whatever?
Yeah, I have met him a few times. I was signed to Sony, of which John is Sony BMG royalty, signed his whole life. So sort of cross paths at parties and functions and that kind of thing. And playing in Ice House, I've shared the stage with him. Um, his last ever public performance, was at Firefight, which was the big benefit with Queen and Katie Lang for the bushfires just before COVID.
Yeah.
So we got to play that, and then I got to watch Katie Lang sing Hallelujah from side stage, and then I got to play our set, and then I got to stand side of stage and watch John and Olivia sing "You're the Voice." So that was wonderful. And yeah, so I've crossed paths with him, but definitely not close by any means. But and yeah, I hope that, to the second part of your question, I hope that I get the chance to sit down with him and pick his brains, and I'd love to be able to approach this role from a factual word of mouth perspective rather than what I assume he was thinking. I'd love to ask what he was actually thinking in those moments and try to represent those on stage.
Well, you know what? In a couple of decades' time, there will be a Michael Paynter musical. Absolutely, we know that. It'll happen. It'll happen. And then you have
It'll be quite boring. It'll just
quite
be a lot of gigs and a lot of planes and a lot of notes that are way too high. So
planes, trains, and automobiles.
yes, yeah.
Hey, so Michael is a very busy guy, everyone. Whispering Jack the musical starts 15th of November to the 27th of December in 2026 at in Sydney for the Sydney Theatre Company at Roslyn Packer Theatre. Get on your
Mhm.
tickets. Sydney's not a far trip, so get over there, all you
Yeah,
Adelaide.
there's not many tickets left. It's already really sold really well. So I think that sort of should show the producers how much appetite there is for John and his music. So I'm looking forward to it.
And then fingers crossed there might be an Australian tour announcement, but we'll wait. We'll just wait. We'll wait.
We'll wait and see, mate. We'll wait and see.
But what we do have now, everybody, is like I said, Adelaide Fringe. Michael is coming over for it. It's called the Great Australian Songbook Live, up close and intimate. Unfortunately, both shows are totally sold out. So you'll just have to wait and see if there's going to be an encore show one day.
Yeah, I mean, look, when we started booking publicity, we were trying to sell tickets, and we were just so. I really mean it. I'm not just giving lip service. It's really blown me and my team away at the response. So it's been well surpassed what we expected. But yeah, I love coming to Adelaide, and I'm really looking forward to getting there.
You are an incredible guy. I can guarantee you when you get to Adelaide, we've got exceptional weather at the moment. So you are going to have a good...
You've also got my favorite restaurant in the world.
Which one's that?
I'm a simple man, and I've eaten it. You can imagine with the kind of crowds that I roll in, I've eaten at some pretty special restaurants, but my favorite restaurant is Yanni's on Hindley, which I think is up there with the best Greek souvlaki I've ever eaten. So I'm looking forward to getting there probably at 1 o'clock in the afternoon for a nice lunch, not 1 o'clock in the morning for a dirty souv, but we'll see how that pans out.
That's your old days. That's your old young days.
Yeah, that's it. I'm too old and responsible now.
Michael Paynter, everybody. Michael, you've been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to catching up with you in Adelaide in just a couple of weeks.
Yep, I'll see you then, mate. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, my friends.